Today should have been a wonderful day, but in fact, news appears, and what is etched in my mind is yet another image of Mr. Putin limping down a corridor with his gun stuck somewhere in his groin. Now, look, on the 17th to the 19th of September, there are elections for the Russian Parliament, the Duma. And everything is being done to make sure that Putin's party, Putin's failing party, he's barely got 30% support, and in Russia and in Moscow, it's down to 15% support. Think of that. Everything is being done to make sure that the election is not going to be an embarrassment. So many opposition MPs at the moment have actually been banned from standing. Really quite important people. Like Shlosberg and the leader of the communist group, Grudinin. These people have simply been suppressed. There have been 19 new laws in the last year so that these elections can be better controlled because of the failing United Russia party. Even historians like Yuri Dmitriev are now in prison for 13 years for questioning the FSB, that's the security service. That actually, in terms of acronyms, there are so many of them. There's the FSB, there's the GRU, which is the military security service, and then there's the SVR, which is the foreign security service, basically the spy network. All those organizations which have been set up by opposition groups have been closed down or have closed themselves down because they think it's too dangerous to continue. Things like Commander 29, things like Dossier, Gulagu Net, which is run by a fellow called Vladimir Oschenkin. He fled Russia in 2015. He's still abroad. So many of these exiles are trying to influence what's going on in Russia from abroad. I mean, you can think of Navalny's two spokespeople, Leonard Volkov and Ivan Zhdanov, abroad, and now themselves facing a threat of, today we learn they're facing a threat of 8 years in prison should they return back to Russia. And all the crowdfunding activities which Navalny's organization had sort of grown up through, anybody found donating to these organizations also faces threats. And Navalny himself today has been formally accused of working with the CIA, something he actually has said is libelous. But who cares about that? I suppose that would be Putin's response. And Putin believes, I think he genuinely believes that he is at war with the West, and that there's a fifth column of Western activists infiltrating theatres, schools, the media. And he's being advised by another KGB officer, another ex-KGB officer, a fellow called Nikolai Petrushkov. Watch out for that name because I'm sure it's going to be significant. He's Putin's strategy advisor. Whatever he says is what happens. So the other day I brought you the extraordinary story about Boris Vishnevsky, who is facing, who is standing for election. He's one of the opposition MPs standing for election, I think from St. Petersburg, and on the form, he's facing a pile of people who are also called Boris Vishnevsky. They've changed their name to confuse the electorate. Now, you may think this is a one-off situation, but no, it's not. I can tell you another story about an MP whose home is on the north of the Volga, not far from Novgorod, and he's a fellow called Sergei Kazankov, and he is actually standing against a man who now has the same name as his father, Ivan Kazankov. So it's if the United Russia cannot win by putting the opposition in prison, it's going to win by confusing the electorate. Just to go back for a few minutes to the Gulagu Net, that was an organisation, or that is an organisation, which is focused on abuse in prison and documenting this. And so therefore, if you look at the prison conditions in IK2, which is the place where Navalny is being held, these are appalling, but they're not quite what you expect. Yes, there is the beating on the soles of the feet. Yes, there is the torture. Yes, there is being kept in the cold, people's fingers dropping off with frostbite and so on. Yes, there are those things which you expect, but there's something else which is now being documented, which is quite fascinating and deeply harsh and abusive. And this is what is described as silent treatment. And we've heard about it from a number of people now, that people are told that a certain prisoner is kept in Coventry, is kept in complete silence, and anybody who speaks to him will then be beaten severely. Now, maybe this is happening to Navalny. So we know the story from people who've been in that prison, people like Dmitry Damushkin, who was released in 2019. And we also know of the appalling regime of the activisti. Those are the criminals who are trusted to beat up other criminals. And we know about that from a fellow called Konstantin Kotov. So this is what this organization Gulagu.net was documenting, was something which really is quite important now that Gulagu.net has been forced to close. So will Putin win the election in the 17th to the 19th of September? Almost certainly. But it is clearly going to be a fake victory. And as for the 2024 presidential election, what's going to stand in his way? Everybody who's going to stand in his way is now in prison or in exile. Look, do follow my account and do ring the bell. Ring the bell. Bye bye.